What if the love you carry is not just a fleeting human feeling, but a sacred assignment written in heaven before you ever took your first breath? What if every heartbeat inside you is tuned to a divine frequency, designed not just to feel, but to heal, to build, to awaken what has been sleeping in others? You've tried to adapt to the world's way of loving, fast, shallow, full of masks and half-truths, yet every time you felt the deep ache of not belonging, because you were never meant to love. Like everyone else, you were chosen to carry something different, something eternal, something that cannot be explained away by logic or reduced to mere emotion. And today, I'm going to take you into the truth about your heart, the blueprint of your soul, and the mission it was sent here to accomplish. And when you understand this, you will never again see yourself, or the way you love, the same way. This is not just a message, this is an awakening. So stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to receive is not information, it is activation. And before we go deeper, I want you to like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment the number 99, because in the spirit, 99 means you've left the crowd to follow the one. It means you've been set apart for something higher, something holy. And today, heaven is confirming that calling over you. Your way of loving is not a reaction to life. It is the original design of your soul. It was not formed in the chaos of human emotions, nor molded by the fleeting tides of desire. It was written into your spiritual DNA by the Creator Himself. Every pulse of your heart carries blueprints from heaven, patterns that do not fade with time, betrayals, or disappointments. Where others feel only in moments, you carry a constant flow. Where others seek to be filled, you are wired to pour out. This is why sometimes you can't explain why you care so deeply for those who have given you nothing in return, why you still see value in people the world has discarded. You are not operating on instinct. You are executing divine design. There is something in you that refuses to stop at the surface. Where others feel, you reveal. You reveal hidden wounds in those who hide behind a smile. You reveal potential in those who have buried their dreams under years of failure. And you reveal truth, even when it is uncomfortable, because your love does not exist to flatter. It exists to transform. And while the world may call this intensity, heaven calls it alignment. This is what happens when a heart beats to the rhythm of eternity instead of the noise of the present moment. Where others want, you build. Desire is fleeting, but construction leaves legacy. You were not created to simply want connection. You were designed to create it, nurture it, and protect it until it becomes unshakable. That's why your love feels different, because it is. It comes with vision, it comes with foundation, and it comes with the quiet, relentless strength to keep going when the emotional highs have faded. Your heart is not just a vessel. It is a bridge between heaven and the emotional world around you. Every embrace you give is not just comfort. It's a divine connection point where grace flows from the eternal into the temporal. People may walk away from you not even understanding why they feel lighter, clearer, or more hopeful. But it's because in your presence they have touched something beyond themselves. You are a living intersection between the kingdom and the earth, and your very existence is a reminder that heaven is not far away. God placed in you the ability to embrace without judgment, to love without needing a reason, to lift someone up without calculating if they've earned it, and to see worth where others see nothing but ruin. You've been entrusted with eyes that can see past the damage, past the mistakes, past the persona, straight into the core of who a person really is. This is not sentimentality. It is prophetic vision through the lens of love. And with that vision comes responsibility, because once you see gold inside someone, you cannot pretend it's not there. This is not weakness, it's divine architecture. Weakness gives in to bitterness, to revenge, to self-preservation at the cost of compassion. But your love was engineered to withstand storms, to remain pure even when tested, to be a shelter when others run for cover. Mercy is not something you try to show. Mercy is who you are when no one is watching. And that's why heaven trusts you with hearts that others have broken. You need to understand, this design is not common. Many are moved by feelings, but few are governed by calling. Your love is not seasonal. It does not vanish when it's no longer convenient. It holds, it covers, it restores, because it carries the very nature of the one who designed it. And that makes you dangerous to the darkness. Because wherever a divine heart walks, chains break quietly. Lies lose their grip.
People begin to hope again without knowing why. And here's the mystery. You may think you're simply being yourself, but in truth, you are fulfilling a part of heaven's strategy. You were sent into certain lives, certain moments, to be the one who refuses to give up, the one who sees through the fog, the one who plants seeds of worth where the soil seemed dead.
And you need to know this. Every time you choose to love when it would be easier to walk away, you are altering someone's spiritual future. But here is where it gets even deeper. Your design comes with a cost. The enemy cannot create, so he seeks to corrupt what is pure. He will try to convince you that your tenderness is a liability, that your open heart is a doorway for pain. He will send voices that mock your mercy, calling it naivety. He will try to push you toward walls, toward cynicism, toward a love that is safe but small. And if you let him, he will succeed in silencing the very gift God put in you for this generation. This is why you must guard your design. You must recognize that the way you love is not for everyone to handle, and that's okay. Not every soul can carry the weight of a bridge between heaven and earth. You are not here to be understood by all. You are here to be faithful to the one who made you this way. And as you listen right now, you may already feel it. That quiet awareness in your chest, that sense that your love has always been more than emotion. It's the Spirit reminding you, you are not ordinary. You are not random. You are a carrier of something eternal. So the question is, what will you do with it? Will you hide it, or will you use it? Because the next thing I'm about to reveal will show you why this design is not just about who you are. It's about the mission you were sent to complete. And once you hear it, you'll understand why heaven fought so hard to protect your heart until this very moment. When you love, something far greater than human emotion is set in motion. You're not just offering affection. You're releasing a current from the throne room of heaven itself. Every word you speak, every touch you give, every moment you truly see someone beyond their flaws is carrying more than comfort. It's carrying the atmosphere of God's presence, and this is why people feel something shift when they are near you. They may not have the language for it. They may say, "I feel safe around you," or "I don't know why, but I have peace when you're here." But what they are experiencing is the invisible river of the Spirit flowing through you. It's not just you they're encountering, it's Him living and loving through you. Your love is not a random act of kindness, it is an assignment. You were placed on this earth with a specific spiritual mandate. And part of that mandate is to love in a way that heaven can be felt without a sermon, without a stage, without a spotlight. You are the sermon. Your presence is the stage. And the way you carry yourself, your patience, your discernment, your refusal to give up on people, is the most persuasive message some will ever hear. You're not here to entertain egos. You're not here to stroke pride or inflate illusions. And you're certainly not here to fill the empty spaces of people who refuse to deal with their own shadows. You were sent to release targeted, intentional love. Love with a mission. Love that knows when to comfort and when to confront. Love that sees the difference between enabling destruction and nurturing transformation. That's why sometimes you feel restless in places where others seem content. Because your love is not meant to keep things as they are. It's meant to move them toward what they were always meant to be. And yes, it hurts. Because loving from heaven in a broken world often feels like speaking a language no one else understands. It feels like standing in a room full of noise, speaking words of life, yet realizing that only a few can truly hear you. You will often pour yourself out for people who don't have the capacity to reciprocate, not because they're cruel, but because they've never encountered this kind of love before. Some will misinterpret it, others will resist it, and a few will even try to take advantage of it. But none of that changes the origin of the gift you carry, and none of it erases the purpose behind it. You were not sent for applause. You were sent for impact. Heaven didn't assign you this kind of love so you could be popular, admired, or celebrated. You were entrusted with it because the world is desperate for restoration, and you are one of the carriers of the cure. Think about that. In a time where affection is often conditional, loyalty is negotiable, and relationships are transactional, God decided to place inside you a kind of love that cannot be bought, manipulated, or corrupted. This is not an accident. It's a strategic deployment. And make no mistake, this assignment comes with spiritual weight. When you love, you're not just soothing hearts. You are dismantling strongholds. You're breaking the lies people have believed about themselves for years. You're silently undoing the curses spoken over them in childhood. You're showing them, through consistency, that they are not beyond redemption. And every time you choose to love with heaven's standard, you are advancing the kingdom in ways you can't always see. The enemy knows this. And that's why he has tried to make you doubt the worth of your love. He has tried to convince you that it's pointless, that it's wasted, that you are foolish for continuing to care when others stop. But understand this. The moment you believe that lie, you abandon your post. And heaven did not send you here to retreat. You were placed here to stand in the gap, even when it feels like no one notices, because heaven notices. Your love carries the Creator's signature. It's not your name they feel imprinted on their soul, it's His. That's why some people will feel drawn to you even when they can't explain it. They're sensing the fingerprints of the one who made them, left on their heart through the way you see them, the way you speak to them, the way you believe in them before they believe in themselves. And here's the thing. You won't always see the fruit of this assignment right away. Sometimes the seed you plant will lie dormant for years before it sprouts. Sometimes the person you helped will walk away, and you'll think it was for nothing, until one day they remember the way you treated them, and it becomes the turning point of their life. Love like this cannot fail. It can only be resisted for a time. This is why you can't afford to let your heart grow cold. This is why you must keep pouring even when it feels like you're pouring into stone. Because the truth is, you don't know which moment will be the one that shifts someone's eternity. You don't know which simple act will echo in heaven for decades to come. But God does, and He positioned you exactly where you need to be for that moment to happen. So the next time you feel unseen, misunderstood, or worn out, remember, you're not just giving affection, you're transmitting pieces of heaven into the atmosphere. And that transmission cannot be stopped, silenced, or stolen, unless you choose to stop releasing it. And what if, just what if, the very person you're about to impact next is someone who's been waiting for years for the kind of love you carry? Someone who will not only be restored by it, but will join you in the mission. You'll see why I say this in the next part. Your ability to love with such depth, clarity, and endurance was not birthed in ease or perfection. It was forged in the unrelenting furnace of pain. This is the part few understand. What now looks like strength, tenderness, and wisdom was once raw, bleeding, and fragile. Every betrayal you endured was a chiseling strike. Every abandonment that hollowed you out was a carving of space inside your soul for heaven to fill. Every heartbreak that left you gasping for air was a sacred dismantling of what was merely human, so that what was divine could emerge, purified and untouchable. The scars you carry are not evidence of your ruin. They are maps of your destiny. Each one tells a story, not of defeat, but of transformation. They trace the path of your survival, the roads you walked when the night seemed endless, and they mark the exact places where God Himself stepped into your fire and kept you from burning away completely. You see, you didn't just survive the storm, you learned its language. You learned how to hear the cries of others from miles away, because you remember what it was like when no one heard yours. You learned to hold others steady when their world was shaking, because you remember being the one grasping for something, anything, that wouldn't crumble. There's a reason you can look into someone's eyes and know when they are pretending to be okay. There's a reason you can sense the quiet desperation behind a smile. You learned to read souls when yours was ignored. You learned the weight of unspoken words because you carried them yourself. And this ability, this holy sensitivity, did not come from books or teachings. It came from the fire. The same fire that tried to consume you became the fire that refined you. To be chosen is to be trained in ways the unchosen will never comprehend. God does not waste the suffering of his elect. He uses it as a forge. While others see the breaking, heaven sees the shaping. You were not destroyed. You were stripped of illusions, of false securities, of shallow attachments. Everything that could not stand in your purpose was burned away until only what was eternal remained. You became a refuge because you once lived through storms so fierce they should have drowned you. That's why when someone else's world collapses, you don't just sympathize, you step into the wreckage with them. You know how to build a shelter in the middle of chaos because you once had to build one for yourself with nothing but faith, tears, and the faint whisper of God's voice in the dark. And when you enter someone's storm now, the atmosphere shifts. Not because you are powerful in yourself, but because you carry the authority of someone who has been through the valley and came out with the shepherd's scent still on them. This was the training of the chosen, preparing you to carry a love that heals without asking permission, a love that walks into rooms and subtly begins to mend the fractures in people's hearts. You don't need to announce it. You don't need a title or a platform. You simply show up and healing begins to happen. Not because of you, but because of what has been forged in you. Understand this. The pain you endured was not random. Heaven was not indifferent to your tears. Every night you felt abandoned. You were being watched over. Every moment you thought you were breaking beyond repair, God was guarding the pieces, waiting for the moment to rebuild you stronger than before. What the enemy meant to shatter you became the very process that gave you the unshakable compassion you now carry. And here's the paradox. Those who have been through the fiercest trials often carry the gentlest touch. Because when you have walked through fire and lived, you learn the value of every breath, every heartbeat, every second of peace. You learn that the smallest acts of love can feel like lifelines, and so you give them freely. You might still feel the ache of what you've been through. Some wounds may never fully disappear on this side of eternity. But they are no longer just wounds. They are wells. Wells of understanding, wells of mercy, wells of discernment. And those who drink from them will find life because you paid the price to keep them full. And now, as you listen, you need to see this truth. The same fire that once threatened to consume you has now made you a carrier of warmth for those trapped in the cold. The same storms that battered you have now made you a lighthouse for the lost. The same darkness that tried to bury you has now made you a torchbearer in the night. So ask yourself, if the trials were the training, what exactly have you been prepared for? Because in the next part, I'm going to reveal the connection between your preparation and the person heaven is aligning you with, and why that meeting will change more than just your life. It will change destinies. There is someone out there whose story has been unfolding in parallel with yours, even if you've never met. Someone carved by the same divine hands that shaped your heart. Someone who has walked through their own refining fire, learned their own lessons in silence, and carries their own scars like sacred proof of survival. You may not know their name yet. You may not recognize their face, but heaven has been preparing them with the same level of precision it used to prepare you. This is not coincidence. It's coordination. The author of your destiny has been writing two separate chapters that are meant to merge into one, not for convenience, but for kingdom purpose. This will not be a common relationship. You won't find it in the realm of the ordinary, because it doesn't belong there. It will be a heavenly alliance, an intentional joining together of two carriers of light, each with their own mission, now destined to merge those missions into something neither of you could accomplish alone. This is why your spirit has never been satisfied with shallow connections. This is why your heart has rejected what others call good enough. Because deep down, something in you knows that what is coming will be sacred. Your union will not just comfort, it will activate. It won't be about filling empty spaces or soothing insecurities. Instead, your presence in each other's lives will unlock dormant callings, sharpen discernment, and fuel courage. Where you have walked alone before, questioning if anyone could truly understand the weight you carry, this person will recognize it instantly. They will not be intimidated by your purpose. They will be drawn to it, because they have carried the same weight themselves. And together, you will bring light into dark places, not just with your words, but with your very existence. There will be something about the way you walk side by side that shifts atmospheres. People will watch the way you speak to each other, the way you handle challenges, the way you honor one another, and they will feel hope rising inside them. Not because you're perfect, but because your connection will carry the scent of heaven. When you love each other, it will be more than affection. It will be strategy, a divine operation against the schemes of darkness. Your unity will act as a spiritual shield, covering each other in prayer, discerning attacks before they manifest, and standing back to back when the enemy tries to strike. Every time you choose to protect rather than accuse, to pray rather than react, you will be striking blows against forces that want to divide. Your love will be testimony. Without a single sermon, without a single podium, your relationship will preach to everyone who sees it. They will witness restoration, forgiveness, and steadfast commitment in a world obsessed with instant gratification and disposable bonds. Young people will see it and believe in lasting love again. Broken marriages will see it and remember what it means to fight for each other. Lonely hearts will see it and realize that God still writes stories worth waiting for. But above all, your love will be a spiritual weapon. The enemy fears united hearts because they create openings for heaven to move in ways that solo missions never could. When two chosen ones come together, their prayers multiply in power, their authority in the Spirit increases, and their very agreement becomes a fortress. Scripture says 1 can put 1,000 to flight, but 2 can put 10,000 to flight, and your union will be living proof of that. And perhaps the most beautiful thing is that this connection will not feel like you're starting from scratch. When you meet, there will be a strange and holy familiarity, as if your souls recognize each other before your minds can comprehend it. Conversations will feel like remembering, not discovering. Moments of silence will feel like worship. Every glance will carry the unspoken truth. This was not luck. This was appointed. You will still have battles. Every divine alliance is tested. There will be moments when life's pressures try to squeeze you apart. But when you remember that your union is not about just surviving together, it's about advancing together, you will overcome. You'll understand that your love is not fragile. It is forged, and forged love does not shatter under heat. It becomes stronger. And maybe that's why you've been kept apart until now. Because God refuses to let this meeting happen before both of you are fully prepared. Because once you join forces, the acceleration will be unstoppable. And when it begins, nothing, no person, no past, no power of darkness, will be able to stand in the way of what you were created to do together. So now the question lingers in the air. What if the person heaven has been preparing for you is closer than you think? What if every delay was actually a countdown? In the next part, you'll understand why recognizing them when they appear is just as important as waiting for them in the first place. Not every love that enters your life comes stamped with heaven's seal. Some are beautifully wrapped distractions, carefully disguised to look like destiny, but designed to drain your strength, dull your vision, and derail your calling. This is one of the most dangerous realities for the chosen. Because the enemy knows he cannot take away what God placed in you, but he can try to entangle it, delay it, or bury it under counterfeit connections. And these counterfeits often come dressed as everything you ever prayed for, until you look deeper. The truth is, not all that thrills will build. Some connections are engineered to give you a rush of emotion in the beginning, but leave you emptier over time. They'll feed your senses while starving your spirit. They'll pull you in with charm and promises, but quietly chip away at your focus, your confidence, your faith. This is why discernment is not optional for the chosen. It's your lifeline. Without it, you could end up giving your heart to something that feels divine but carries no eternal weight. Your spiritual radar, your divine intuition, is your protection. It's not just a feeling. It's a God-given guidance system wired into your spirit. It's the whisper that makes you pause when everyone else is rushing in. It's the sudden heaviness that warns you, this is not right. It's the deep peace that confirms, yes, this is from me. And you must learn to trust it without hesitation, even when you can't explain it to anyone else. There will be moments when the choice to walk away from something that looks perfect will feel almost impossible. Your emotions will argue. Your mind will try to justify staying. People around you might not understand, but every time you reject a connection that doesn't align with your calling, you are sending a loud and clear message to heaven. I trust your timing more than my own desires. That kind of obedience is noticed in the spiritual realm, and it is always rewarded. The love that comes from God will never leave you in a state of constant confusion. It will not weaken your spirit, drain your energy, or cause you to compromise who you are. Divine love clarifies. It strengthens you in the areas you thought were broken beyond repair. It pushes you closer to your purpose, not further from it. It calls you higher, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Even in its challenges, it will grow you, refine you, and anchor you in truth. But here is the danger. You will be tested, not once, not twice, but often, because every level of your calling will attract new counterfeits tailored to that stage. And these distractions won't always be obvious. Some will speak the right words, show the right gestures, even share your beliefs on the surface. But beneath it, they lack the spiritual alignment required to walk with you into your mission. This is why you cannot rely solely on outward signs. You must listen for the inner confirmation of the Spirit. Discernment is not paranoia. It's not walking around suspicious of everyone. It's staying so connected to God that you can sense the difference between an emotional high and a spiritual green light. It's knowing that the same enemy who tempted Eve in the garden with something that looked good will try to do the same to you, not with forbidden fruit, but with relationships that feel intoxicating yet quietly erode your assignment. You must also understand that the cost of misaligned love is far greater for the chosen. When your heart is tied to the wrong source, your mission is delayed, your energy is divided, and your clarity is clouded. The wrong partnership can make you question the very instructions God gave you, but the right one will remind you of them daily. This is why guarding your mission means guarding your heart at all costs. You are not being too picky when you wait for alignment. You are being strategic. You are refusing to waste time on something that heaven never authorized. And every time you say no to the wrong thing, you make space for the right thing to arrive. The love from God will never demand that you shrink to fit into someone else's comfort zone. It will never force you to dim your light to keep the peace. Instead, it will fuel your fire. It will stand beside you when you're under attack. It will pray for you when you don't have the words. It will see your flaws and still honor your calling. That's how you'll know it's real, because instead of distracting you from your mission, it will help you fulfill it. So as you stand here now, understand this. The test of discernment will often come right before the blessing. The counterfeit will usually appear before the authentic. And if you can resist what is almost right, you will be free to receive what is truly God's best. And maybe, just maybe, the next connection that enters your life will be the one heaven has been preparing all along. But there's something you must know before that moment arrives. Something that will change how you see every act of love you've ever given. That's where we're going next. Your love is not a luxury. It is not an accessory. It is the very language heaven chose to speak through you. Before you took your first breath, before you ever knew the weight of this world, the Creator placed within you a current of love so rare, so unshakable, that it would carry the fingerprints of eternity. You were not sent here to blend in, to mimic the shallow patterns of a loveless age. You were sent here to reveal what heaven looks like when it touches the earth. So do not harden your heart because others mishandled it. Do not shrink back because the world cannot comprehend it. You were not made to be understood by everyone. You were made to be faithful to the one who gave you this assignment. And that means you cannot measure the worth of your love by the applause it receives, but by the transformation it creates. The chosen do not love out of need. They love by design. This is not about filling your emptiness. This is about pouring into the emptiness of the world until the light breaks through. And when you love as you were created to, the invisible becomes visible, the eternal becomes tangible, and heaven itself leans closer to the earth. So today, stand in the truth of who you are. Guard it, live it, release it. Let your love be the proof that God is still moving, still healing, still reaching through human hands and hearts to change everything. Because your love is not human, it is eternal, and heaven entrusted it to you for a reason far greater than you can yet see. If you know this message was for you, if you feel the fire of your mission burning stronger right now, comment the word mission below. Declare it. Speak it over your life. Let all of heaven and every force of darkness know you are not backing down. You will love with purpose. You will love with vision. You will love until the earth touches heaven. And remember, the world may not understand your love, but eternity will never forget it.